debate yet, so this will be my
All right, we're live. Welcome everyone. We're back. Bible Lover 1234 and Young Christian here, and we're gonna be doing a live reaction together. So, last week I think Monday. I don't remember. I think it was last week Monday. Was it? I don't remember. But I reacted to Inspiring Philosophy versus Captain Desariac and whether Jesus is the Most High God. So we all know my thoughts there. I don't know if you watched that one, but me personally, I think although Inspiring Philosophy didn't do perfect, I think he crushed him either way because he had the biblical backing behind him. He used it, and then the captain's arguments and responses were, like he was appealing to divine agency in passages where agency won't help, right? So, but anyways, we're not talking about that today, but this little recap. So today we're going to be doing the second debate that happened that day. It was like at night. It was GodLogic against Captain Yawasap, I think. I don't know where these names come from. But this is a different topic now. They're talking about whether Gentiles can be saved. And I know we've had some run-ins with Hebrew Israelites in the past. So we all, if anyone wants to see our arguments, you can go check out. There's 2 live streams I did with Bible Lover. One of them was responding to Hebrew Israelites specifically on John 3. Then there was the one where we did like the next week where we're just bringing our arguments. My most recent video, I bring my biblical arguments for salvation of Gentiles. So we got content on that. So we're not going to be bringing forth our arguments today. We're going to be reacting. I was trying to get my friend Jacob to join, but I'm not sure he's going to be here. And just one more quick, like a little announcement. This channel schedule might slow down or just stop completely for a few weeks. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'll try to keep you guys updated. So we'll see what happens. So I think without further ado, we should just get this going. I'm going to put
That's good.
I did get the ad blocker. I don't know if I activated it properly. So if there's an ad, then I did something wrong. So hopefully I didn't do it wrong. I think it worked because when I opened Bible Hub, it will tell me something about ad blocker or something. So I think it worked. So hopefully. All right, let's see here. I just want to. I think I would do this. All right, here we go.
Time will start as soon as you start talking.
All right. So, I'm going to die, huh? I'm going to die.
Actually, I need to tell you actually what happened because I watched the first 2 minutes. They did like their openings. I probably should have covered that.
Okay.
So the Captain Yawasap said something very interesting. I don't know if you saw that, but he said that GodLogic is going to mention passages, and then when he gets brung to the context, he's going to die. Whatever that's supposed to mean.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that. So I found that very interesting. So this is going to be interesting.
Well, look, this is what we got here, man. So my brother here, he they don't believe the Gentiles can be saved, meaning the non-Israelites, y'all. He's gonna try to argue that Gentiles that are saved in the scriptures are the Israelites and the Israelites only. And so salvation cannot go to non-Jews, non-Israelites, ethnically Israelites can only be saved. And so I think that it's good for us to start off with the basics, which comes with the promise that was given to Abraham. And when we look at this, and I think that you're going to enjoy this too, in the Torah, because you like the Torah.
I love it.
You love the Torah. All right, we love the Torah. What's the only thing we do around here, y'all? We just read. So we're just going to read here. We got Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. And in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, this is what it says here. It says, hold on, let me get it. It says, I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you, I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Did it say some? Did it say a little bit? It said all, right? So that's the Israelite families, right? That's the non-Israelite families, right? So all families of the earth will be blessed. That's the promise that God first gave to Abraham. Then we go over to Genesis.
I think it's good to pause it there. Just kind of, hold on. Let me mute Discord. People are spamming this group chat. I can't focus. Mute conversation for, no. Okay, whatever. All right, sorry about that. They're spamming the group chat there.
Use it.
Project I'm working on. But so from my understanding, the Hebrew Israelites believe when it talks about Gentiles being saved, that's really Israelites. Is that correct? I mean,
Yeah, that's what they believe.
Okay, because the issue is every time, or at least most of the time, we see Gentiles being mentioned for salvation, it is in distinction to Israelites. So, like Romans 1:16, for example, to the Jew first, and then also to the Greek, right? And then when you continue reading, he starts talking about the sins of the pagans, and then in chapter 2, and I believe in chapter 3 as well, he talks about the sins of the Jews. So he's talking about the whole world here. So, I mean, even if you want to say that some of the verses are about Jews and Israelites, fine. But you can't use that to explain every single instance. Like, that's the same argument I'll use against divine agency. You might be able to explain a few verses, explain it away with divine agency, but you can only take a divine agency so far. So, now I think I'm... which verse is it? I don't remember. Okay, this is it. Genesis 12:3. Let me zoom in. This is what Avery was mentioning this part right here. I will bless those who bless you, and I will bless him who curses you. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
All of them.
Right. I think the translation uses the word nations, so maybe it's a little, maybe a little vague in the Hebrew, but note that all families, right? Even if it's translated families, who are these families here, right? So there's no limitation for race. So I'm going to keep going. Just kind of wanted to cover that because I don't want to spend here like 5 minutes too long letting it run. Kind of just pause, interject a few times.
I would say something there, but I want to just see how Yawasap will react to what he just said there. Then we could go. Yeah. We can touch on it. So
I think Avery is still making his point, but we'll see what happens. Because I haven't watched this either. This is my raw reaction. So we're getting a reaction.
All right, let's keep going.
All right.
This is chapter 17. He says that you will be a father of many nations, not just one, right? Not just one nation, but many nations. Now, this isn't meaning that, the Israelites, and now he's smiling because he's like, wait, the Israelites were scattered to many nations. So let's talk about the Israelites. See, I read your mind. You didn't know that, huh? Yeah. You didn't know I
wasn't thinking that.
Okay.
I wasn't thinking that, brother.
I hope not, because then it would be too easy. So I'm glad you're not thinking that. Because he says you'll be a father of many nations. Not that, so the nation of Israel, that's one nation. That's one nation. So that means the other nations are also included in the family of Abraham as long as they believe in the Messiah. All right? Now, I also want to talk about this because we want to establish the covenant.
I can't respond?
Yeah, I'm just, my opening, I'm about to land the opening.
Go ahead.
Okay. So with the opening here, we got Deuteronomy chapter 29 that talks about the covenant that's given to the people of Israel. Now, I like this because he said if we go to the context, we're going to die. So just real quick, we're going to die. Let's see if we die here. Let's see which point dies. So we got Deuteronomy 29, 9 to 15. Watch what it says there. It says, therefore keep the words of this covenant and do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. You are standing today, all of you, before the Lord your God, the heads of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, and all the men of Israel. That's all Israel, right? So all the men of Israel are covered. Then it goes, your little ones, your wives. Now guess what? It says, and the sojourner who is in your camp. So this is a non-Israelite. right? From the one who chops your wood
Nope.
to the one who draws your water, so that you may enter into the sworn covenant of the Lord your God, which the Lord your God is making with you today. So just to land this, we see that the non-Israelites are also accepted and sworn into the covenant that's given to Israel. So I'll land that point there. I'll hear my opponent.
Okay, so I think I'm going to put them on the screen too. So we got here Genesis 17:4. As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and ye shall be a father of many nations. And it says in the footnote for the NKJV, literally a multitude of nations. And then if we go down. Now, interestingly, Galatians 4 connects that to the believer, right? I believe it's in Galatians 4. Maybe it's Galatians 5, but it connects that to the believer in the new covenant. So it's not just this Israelites are the only nation that come from Abraham. The way it's connected in the new covenant, everyone who is in Christ, a believer in Christ, a new creation, is now a descendant of Abraham. And you can read that in, I believe it's Galatians 4. And then we have also here Deuteronomy 29. He said 9 to 15, but he stopped at verse 11. And it talks about keep the words of the covenant, do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. All of you that stand before Yahweh today. And it talks about the men of Israel, right? But then, distinct from the men of Israel, also the stranger who is in your camp. Now, typically, the laws were only to Israel, like, the dietary laws and things like that, to distinguish them from other nations. But strangers could come in, and since they're under the nation of Israel, they would, I'm assuming, I don't know, remember this, so if I'm wrong, correct me, but they would also practice these things. And so if they're under the nation of Israel,
similar to circumcision,
right. So they can practice these things as well. So here we go.
And if I could just touch on that, like even with what Avery mentioned in Deuteronomy chapter 29, it says in the verse there that to enter into the covenant, right? So this covenant is being ratified, the second law. Moses is finishing up his exposition on the law to the men of Israel, the women of Israel, the children of Israel, and the people who are not native Israelites who are within the camp. Meaning, in God's eyes, they are part of the Israelite community. He's ratifying the covenant with them as well. They're not excluded from the covenant. If they're a part of the community, they have to be ratified. They have to join in the agreement that we will keep this law. You know what I mean? And Avery brought great points from Genesis 17 and Genesis 12 that in you all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Meaning God's desire is not to curse other nations, right? His desire is to curse those who curse you. But if they bless you, he will bless them too. Because in you, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Meaning God's desire is not to curse or hate another nation or cast away another nation. God shows, even in the first book of the Bible, his love for all nations, and that his desire is that all nations of the earth are blessed through Abraham. You know what I mean? And you all of them will be blessed. And you'll be the father of many nations. Right? So I think that's a strong point Avery brought to start the debate. Let's just see what the Yawasap got to say.
Yeah, I just want to say really quickly, this isn't a debate review today. If it were a debate review, I would be like summarizing things. We're just kind of reacting. So I might start saying review-like language, like saying, okay, here's where I think he went wrong. But mainly we're kind of here to react, to give our thoughts. It's not really a debate review. But anyways, let's keep going. Let me make sure this is... All right, there we go.
All right. You got Genesis 12 up? No. You don't got... Get Genesis 12 in the Hebrew. Let's go through it.
Okay.
Let's go through it.
I'm about to die.
You ready? In Genesis 12 in the Hebrew, when it says V'ka kol meshpachoth, what does that mean?
You tell me.
That means in you all the families. The you is referring to who?
Abraham.
Okay. So that's Abraham.
Yep.
So the word families is in a feminine plural that ends in the off. What does that indicate?
It indicates that it's not just one family that Abraham is going to be blessing, but all of the families of the earth that's going to be blessed.
I got you. So let me teach you the importance of what this means.
All right, teach me.
Okay. So in the Hebrew, the feminine is also often used to complement or relate to an entity. Who is the entity that is being related to?
Abraham.
So what's being implied here is that the indirect object, the you or the thee, which is Abram, is the one from where the families derive. That's what the Hebrew shows. This is why even when you go to Galatians 3, right? So when you go to Galatians 3 and you begin to show even the context on where he's drawing that from, it's speaking about Israelites. Let's go there. This is horrible, brother.
That's good.
So I'm looking at this right now. We got this word here. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I don't even know. I don't know Hebrew yet. Lord willing, one day I'll learn it. Don't worry. But
You got it.
so we have this word here, families, and I guess he's making the point that, well, in the Hebrew, it's connecting families to Abraham, saying that they come from Abraham, so it's only Israelites. Which, I guess that. So even if we were to go with that, right? If we go to the New Testament where Paul talks about it, he still connects it to all believers, both Jew and Greek. And we'll probably talk about that because he's talking about Galatians. So I think we're going to go there. But
if I could just interject it, even with what he said, I'm like confused, because isn't that what the text is saying, that like Genesis 17, what Avery quoted, that you will be the father of many nations. So the Bible is saying that these nations will come forth from Abraham and they'll be blessed because of Abraham. So if it's just saying that, if he's making the point that the way the word is structured, or the way the word is written, relates to Abraham and that the nations are coming forth from him, that itself is not a problem to anything Avery said, because there are still nations that came from Abraham that will not be regarded as Israelite nations, because Israelite nations are those that descend from Jacob and the 12 tribes. So the nations outside of that, because Abraham had a bunch of kids, those nations outside of that would still be considered nations who will be blessed by Abraham, and nations who he's fathering, right? So
yeah,
even this point there doesn't defeat anything Avery said, because there still shows that there are nations outside of Israel that will be blessed by God if they keep in line with God's commands, right? So I
yeah.
don't see his point.
I noticed that
Go
Hebrew
ahead.
word has a bit of a range of meanings, right? So it can be like a
Mm-hmm.
clan, it can be a family. It's
Mm-hmm.
typically directed to groups. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, families, right? Even if we still go with it, again, as I said, it's the families in all nations. Or actually, let me go back to the verse because I gotta read. No, I don't have it open here. Let me go back here. All the families of the earth shall be blessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just
Mm-hmm.
a specific family, all the families.
All of them.
So, and I mean, let's go to
And and
Galatians. Yeah, go
and
ahead, make your point.
if I could just interject, a lot of times we'll see with these Hebrew Israelites, they try to make an argument based off a word. And notice what he told Avery, the context will destroy you, but he's already just taking the word out of its context in the sentence itself. Like, if we're going to look at the grammar, we have to look at the sentence structure itself. And the structure of the sentence clearly says, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Young Christian, if I could ask, maybe open up the Septuagint translation of Genesis 12, since you know
Oh
Greek
yeah,
more. Open up the Septuagint, see what the Septuagint says as well, because the sentence structure of this passage is simply saying that
actually,
in
wait a minute.
you all the nations of the earth will be blessed. So we cannot remove this word from its context, from the sentence within it that is in, to make a case that it's not saying what the sentence is clearly saying, which is that in you those nations come forth from you, all of them will be blessed. We could look there as well.
Okay, so we got. I believe this is the word here. Oh no, that's pas. Pas hi fulai. I think this is it.
Mm-hmm.
So fulai. If we go to the Greek Septuagint, so we got tribe, kindred in the translation count in the KJV. Well, that's in the New
Mm-hmm.
Testament, but it's outline of biblical usage. You can be referring to a tribe. It says here in the New Testament, all the persons descended from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. So it's used in the context of the 12 tribes, but it can also be a nation or a people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
both the Hebrew and the Greek, both can either mean like a family or a tribe or even a nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just
Mm-hmm.
one set translation. That's why some translations will translate it differently.
Thank you.
Let's go. I'm gonna do one more thing before we go to Galatians 3. Let's go to the NET, because I know that's a very scholarly translation. So I just want to see how they translate it and if they have a footnote. Let's do this. Where is it? Oh, right here. Okay. So it also translates to families. Interesting. Let me go to footnote C here. And it says here, or find blessing. The nifal of barach occurs only 3 times, all in formulations of the Abrahamic covenant. The nifal stem is medial passive, and has traditionally been rendered as passive here. While this captures an assumption in the passage, it does not fully capture the nuance of the verb. The verb is denominative based on the noun blessing, which with its active voice in the PL and its normal passive expression in the qual, or the qual passive participle. I have no idea what any of this means. Some have. All right, you know what? Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna understand any of this, man. It doesn't really speak on the translation of families here.
All it's talking about is the verb. All it's talking about is the verb used there, to bless. It's not even mentioning anything about the noun family. So it's not. Yeah, it's not mentioning anything there. And
Yeah, so
even with the word family, I don't see that as an issue. Like I don't see how, if the Hebrew Israelite guy is harping on that, I don't see how that's an issue to with anything, right? Like the word can mean nation, it can mean families. Like it's just a word. Like words can be used differently in regards to their context. It's not even a verb. If it was a verb, then you can make a point about how the verb is used, and it's not even a verb, it's a noun. And he's trying to make a huge case on a noun. It's a common noun. It's a common feminine noun, plural, meaning that it's the word is a feminine word, because Hebrew words can be masculine or feminine. And it's a plural noun. Like Avery gave him the answer. That's what I'm saying. Like these guys don't listen. He asked Avery, what does this mean? Avery gave him the answer. That a plural noun saying that all the nations, all the families of the earth be blessed. And he's saying, oh, I'll break it down for you. He didn't listen.
Yeah,
He didn't
and
listen.
I want to try to quickly run. Where did he go, man? Did you press the wrong button?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I was like, where did you go? Don't leave me.
I was trying to mute. Yeah, click the refresh. My fault.
Okay.
Yeah, my fault.
So I don't know if we're gonna read through this whole chapter. I just want to kind of highlight a few points in Galatians 3. So,
Okay.
So remember, Galatians is talking about justification, right? The Galatians were being deceived on the topic of justification, that they could justify themselves by the works of the law. And Paul's very clear, no, right? We're justified by our faith. And so,
Amen.
And so that's why he says in chapter 1, anyone that teaches another gospel, let him be anathema.
Right.
And so he says something very important in verse 8. And the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles by faith, preached the gospel to Abraham beforehand, saying, in you all the nations shall be blessed. So notice, right? Under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, Paul is interpreting I believe that's the one from, is that Genesis 12 or is that Genesis 17? I think that's Genesis 12. Right?
Genesis 12, yes, 12:3. 12:3.
Yeah. Yeah. So Paul is interpreting this and applying it to the Gentiles, saying they were the ones who are going to be justified by faith. Or not the ones that they will also be justified by faith. And that's prophesied here when it talks about the nations. So then those who are of faith are blessed with believing in Abraham, with believing Abraham. We go down. Then it talks about the curse of the law and justification, right? Being redeemed from the curse of the law. This does not mean that God I explained this verse already. Galatians 3:13 doesn't mean that God cursed Jesus and now we have to reject Jesus. That's not what Paul's point there is. So anyone that reads it like that is dishonest. But anyways, I just want to get that out really quick. I hate it when people misuse that passage. Look at verse 14. That the blessing of Abraham might come upon the Gentiles in Christ Jesus, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. The changeless promise. I don't remember this part. Hold on. Brethren, I speak in the manner of men, though it is only a man's covenant, yet if it is confirmed, no one annuls or adds to it. Excuse me. Now to Abraham and his seed. All right, I think this is where it gets a little more important because it talks about the seed now. Right? Remember, all nations are blessed in Abraham. Many families or nations come from him. So Now, to Abraham and his seed were promises made. He's not say, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to your seed, who is Christ. Verse 17, and this I say, that the law, which was 430 years later, cannot annul the covenant that was confirmed before by God in Christ, that it should make the promise of no effect. For if the inheritance is of the law, it is no longer promise, but God gave it to Abraham by promise. So the law cannot annul the covenant, right? And we're going to keep going. Actually, I think it talks about it down here. Or is that in chapter 4? Is that in chapter 4 where it talks about the seed? I think it's in chapter 4. And coming from
Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah, chapter 4, 21. Start from 21. Chapter 4.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we'll go to that later because I don't want to spend too much time on this yet. But since he mentioned Galatians 3, when we're reading Galatians 3, it really the way Paul interprets it doesn't go with the Hebrew-Israelite interpretation, because he interprets it as Gentiles are going to be justified by faith. So not only does it contradict Hebrew-Israelite soteriology, but it also contradicts the issue of who can be saved. And the final nail in the coffin will be verses 26 to 29. For you are all sons of God through faith in Christ Jesus. For as many of you as were baptized into Christ have put on Christ. Verse 28, there is neither Jew nor Greek. There's neither Jew nor Greek, right? There's no slave nor free. There's neither male nor female, for all are one in Christ Jesus, right? Christ Jesus is the uniting work of the Holy Spirit unites us as believers. We are not distinguished by our race, by our rank, by our ethnicity, by our gender. We are all one in Christ. And look at verse 29. If you are Christ, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So notice, right? So not only can you belong to Christ through faith, whether you're Jew or Gentile, but also if you are belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's seed. So God's promise to Abraham was not just for Israelites, it was also to Gentiles. Want to say anything, or should we move on back to the video?
You covered it there. We can continue.
All right.
Let me just hear Yawasap.
Yep. Horrible.
So in Galatians chapter 3, right, when it says, and the scripture foreseeing that God will justify the heathen through faith, right? So you're going to say the heathen are non-Israelites, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So when it says justify through faith, what is he justifying them from?
He's justifying them from their sins.
From their what?
From their sins.
From their sins.
Yeah.
I got you. So in Acts 30,
Whoa, what's going on there? Whoa. So I want to say really quick, that's accurate, because when you read Romans, Paul spends Romans 1:18 to the end of the chapter talking about the sins of pagan Gentiles, all these pagans. And so that makes sense, right? Justification is our justification from our sin, right? And that's talked about extensively. I think starting from chapter 4, it really starts to talk about it, the imputed righteousness of Christ. So anyway, I just want to get that out really quick.
this is no. What's funny is the sin is transgression of the law, right?
Is that all?
So let's go to Acts. I know you're gonna go to Romans.
Okay,
let's go to Acts.
So wait, just
hold on, whoa, I didn't cut you off.
Okay,
you got all that time.
But I didn't.
You got all that time.
I didn't hold on, brother. This is supposed to be an opening.
Hold on, brother. Oh, this is supposed to be an opening?
Yeah.
I'm ready to fight, brother.
I know.
So let's just fight. Forget all that opening stuff.
Okay.
All right. So in the book of Acts,
you made a lot of points. Can I respond to something?
1 second. Book of Acts chapter 13 and verse 38. Let's look what it says.
Pause
But it's known unto you, men and brethren, that through this man is.
I don't know if this carried over on your side, but they were yelling so loud that it like broke the sound barrier, so I couldn't hear everything they said.
Wow.
I as soon as he started talking about fighting, that's when I started hearing them again. I don't know what the heck is going on. I hope they don't yell too much so I can hear it. It's like breaking
the guy just said, "Bun all of that opening statement. I want to fight." Right? These guys don't care about opening statements, not like because the guy's asking Avery questions and Avery's answering, and then Avery's trying to interject as well. The guy's like, "Oh, I didn't cut you off," but the guy's cross-examining him in his own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's I don't know.
that's so funny.
It's a little confusing. So I mean, to be
So
fair,
funny.
there wasn't really a set structure. So
Yeah, it's not a structured debate. These are the funny debates. These are the fun debates. You know what I mean? These are the ones
yeah,
that make you laugh. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's get into
yeah.
it.
Preach
Maybe you
unto
could
you the
speed up the video a
forgiveness
little
of
bit.
sins, and by him all that believe are justified from all things,
All
from all things
Wait,
from
who,
which
who are justified? It said. Who did it say is justified?
who is justified. Let's go to verse 26.
No. Read what you just read.
I'm gonna go to verse 26. Hold on. This is who's justified.
Did you catch what passage they're in? He said like Acts chapter
No,
something.
run that back. That whole part there, run it back. Because that's
Yeah, let's
important.
go
I
back
think.
like let's see.
Be opening.
Hold on, brother. Oh, this is supposed to be an opening?
Yeah,
I'm ready to fight, brother.
I know.
So let's just fight. Forget all that opening stuff.
Okay.
All right. So in the book of Acts chapter 13, right? You go to
You
book.
made a lot of points, Congress.
Ooh, Acts chapter 13. That's not a good place to go, man. That's the last place I would go if I were Hebrew Israelite. But let me open. I'll keep going. I just want to see what he says.
Finding something?
1 second. In the book of Acts chapter 13 and verse 38, let's look what it says. But it known unto you, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things.
All who?
From all things.
Wait,
from which?
who are justified? It said. Who did it say is justified?
Who is justified? Let's go to verse 26.
No. Read what you just read.
I'm going to go to verse 26. Hold on. This is who's justified. This is who's justified. This is who's justified. Check it out. It says, men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you. So who?
I don't know what's going on. It's like, can you hear it clearly? Because it's like quieting down for me.
I'm hearing the sound. Basically, he read Acts 13 verse 38. Verse 38 mentions how, let it be known to you therefore, brothers, that through this man, Jesus Christ, forgiveness of sins is proclaimed to you, and by him everyone who believes is freed from everything from which you could not be freed by the law of Moses. Or in the King James, he read it said justified. So Avery interjects there and says, who is being justified? Because the text that the Yawasap read says everyone who believes is justified, right? And Yawasap's coming to this text stating that Israelites, native Israelites, are justified. Yeah, he's taking this his view from a text that's saying everyone who believes, which is not exclusive, is saying it justified. So when Avery asked him who is justified, he said, "I'll tell you who." And he, instead of going in the context, Avery's wanted to stay in the context of the passage, the verse before and the verse after. But instead, he goes outside of outside of this initial context. He goes to verse 26, and he reads verse 26, which says, "Brothers, sons of the family of Abraham, and those among you who fear God, to us have been sent the message of this salvation." So he uses verse 26, which Paul is basically just talking to the people who are there, the Jewish people, the Israelites there. And he says that, listen, the word of salvation has been sent to them. And and Yahweh using this to say, since Paul is talking about the men and women, the Israelites, that they're over there, then in verse 39, when it says everyone who believes, it's talking about Israelites. That's the kind of the argument he's making. Hopefully you could hear, because it'd be much better if you could hear what's being said.
Okay, I'm trying to fix it. So I mean, if you keep, oh, wait a minute, because he's isolating the verse. Because if you keep on reading, from verse 39, like for example, like literally go to the next verse after verse 39. Excuse me, I'm messing this up. Or not next verse. Excuse me, next few verses. Look at verse 32. So when the Jews went out of the synagogue, the Gentiles begged that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. Right? The Gentiles are hearing this, but it gets worse. Because if you keep reading, now when the congregation broken up, many of the Jews and devout proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who speaking to them persuaded them to continue in the grace of God. So they go next Sabbath. The Jews saw the multitudes, and they were filled with envy. They're blaspheming. And then Paul and Barnabas grew bold, and these are the verses I use in my Taste for Gentile Salvation video. It was necessary that the word of God should be spoken to you first, but since you reject it and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life, behold, we turn to the Gentiles. Right? So even though Paul was addressing Jews and Israelites in from verses 26 to 41,
Mm-hmm.
He was not just talking about Israelites when he says everyone who believes, because when you read down
Mm-hmm.
and you keep and just read to verse 48, and that seals the deal there, it talks about how the Gentiles received the gospel and believe and were appointed to eternal life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try to play it again.
And look what he said. And look what he says in verse 47. He quotes Isaiah 49, which says, "I've made you a light to the Gentiles, that you may bring salvation to the ends of the earth," which is the scripture that's quoted where it says, it's too small of a thing for me to just go after the lost tribes of Jacob. If that's too easy for God, he's saying, I want to do something more. And in every way you read these texts, it's always God saying, I want to do more than just go after Israel, more than just Jacob. I want to go for every nation. That's the whole theme. Even from Genesis 12, which Avery quoted, all nations of the earth will be blessed. God is not focused on one nation alone. He doesn't care about none of them. He prioritized one nation in the Old Testament, but doesn't mean he only focused on them. He wanted to bless all nations through Israel, through Abraham. And this is what he's saying here. We turn to the Gentiles. We switch, we shift our view. So it cannot mean just Israelites. Like they don't let the text speak. And so we can continue. Let's see. Hopefully it works for you. Let's see what Yawasap says.
Yeah. I don't know if it's StreamYard or something, because sometimes that just happens, like whether it's someone's mic in the stage or whatever. So
Mhm.
let's see.
Who's justified?
Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna put the subtitles just in case.
The children of Israel. Got you. So let's go back.
Wait. Can we talk about this?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So this is Acts 13, right? Yeah. So we're gonna read Acts 13. We're gonna read this context here.
Gotcha.
Now you don't know where you cooked yourself. I mean, I think you do, but then you try to skip over that.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
Because
Not
you
at
just-
all.
because you- and I asked you to repeat it, and you were scared to repeat it for some reason.
Not at all.
So you read. It said, "All who believe."
Correct.
All who believe.
Correct.
Will be justified. Now you.
Who's the all?
Yeah, let's see who the all is. So go ahead and read it for
And
me.
after the meeting of the synagogue broke up, many Jews and devout converts to Judaism.
Wait, about what?
Devout converts to Judaism.
Wait, so this means that they weren't in Judaism before?
Devout converts to Judaism.
So these non-Israelites are able to convert to Judaism, come into the belief of the true God.
What verse
because
are you
they're
reading?
justified by their faith. You read this.
What verse are you reading?
Devout converts.
What verse are you reading? What verse are you reading?
What verse is this?
Acts 13:43.
That's not the verse I read.
Yeah, this is the context, right?
Yes.
You told me that if we go to, look, you smell it too.
Yeah. Hold on.
Hey, what he said, if we go to context, I'm going to die. But guess who's dying?
Not at all. Not at all.
Pause it right there. 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 Pause right there. Did it play well for you?
It was like it was glitching like crazy, but I saw the subtitles, so I guess we'll just do that here because.
Okay, so Avery wanted him to get the context of what's being said, right? We'll get the context of what's being said. So he brought him to verse 42 and 43. And Vocab Malone was there. He was reading like how Hebrew Israelites, whenever they read Acts 19. So he read verse 43 where it says, "And after the meeting of the synagogue broke up, many Jews and devout converts to Judaism followed Paul and Barnabas, who, as they spoke with them, urged them to continue in the grace of God," which in that verse was showing that there are people who were not Jews before, not native Israelites, who converted to Judaism, which shows that there can be people who convert to the faith who are not actually Israelites natively, right? And Avery also mentioned how the guy was scared to repeat verse 38, where it said verse 39, where it clearly says by him all who believe, or everyone who believes. And the guy is asking him, what does all mean? What does everyone mean? Because he's trying to force his own view into this word when it's not exclusive. The context shows that it's not exclusive to a specific group. The context of this passage, the immediate context of this verse shows it's not exclusive to a single nation or a single group, but all and everyone used in verse 39 refers to any individual who believes, both Jew, both Greek, Gentile, whatever the case may be. They have the ability to believe and be justified according to their faith, right? And he's not getting that. But that's what logic is saying to him.
Yeah.
This is the whole point of Paul.
Yeah, so really quick, the Greek word used there, because it's translated proselyte in the NKJV, but it's this Greek word here, proselytos, and essentially it means a newcomer, right? And it's used in this context to refer to one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Judaism, right? So it can refer to, depending on the context, someone that's a stranger, right, a newcomer, or a new convert. So just in case there's a little confusion there. Let's see here. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, yeah. So I guess he was making the argument that in verse 39, when it says all who believe, everyone that believes, is you all, right? But if I were to go to the Greek, I'm assuming it's going to use pas, which means everyone. Right? So kaya pop panton, there it is, pas. Right? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Let me go down here. Piston.
I see pas there. It says
oh, okay. It's ordered
piston.
differently. I'm sorry. This is the pas here. There's panton is the same word, but this is it's over here. So I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong.
You should use the reverse inline. So it's reverse. It's ordered in regards to how the English is written. It'll be easier for you.
Yeah.
Where it says reverse REV inline, you probably maybe use that one. It'll be better.
Yeah.
That fourth. So, you see
yes.
You see it there?
Hold on a second. It should be.
Like you
I think
scroll up. You see. Yeah. You see those
reverse.
4 like tabs? Yeah, where it says forward, reverse, forward, inline.
Forward.
Maybe click the reverse inline. Yeah. There
reverse
you go.
inline.
Yeah.
This
one. Yeah. So it orders it how the English has it. So yeah, by him all that believe are justified.
So pas ha pistion. I think you know what may have happened? I think I had it in the wrong setting, but whatever. So pas ha pistion, right? That's every believing one. It's not a limit. It's not limited. It's everyone, right? Now, who that everyone is can be different depending on the context, but Paul doesn't make indication that the everyone is limited to a race of people. All he said, undefined, pas ha pistion, every believing one, everyone who believes. So,
this is the same thing they try to do in John 3. You know what I mean? Same thing they try to do over there, where it says, "For God so loved the world that everyone who believes." Same thing they try to do in John 3, because they try to bring in their own presupposition of who can believe, who can be saved, and force it onto the text, which is eisegesis. You know what I mean? They're not letting the text actually explain this.
So I guess we'll keep going, but he's making blunders here. That's all I'll say.
Logic is cooking this guy.
Yeah.
Not at all. So
hey, I
let's
love
go.
context, man.
So in Acts chapter 13 and 38, it says,
we just read.
All right, so check it out. When it says, and by all that believe are justified from all things, from which ye cannot be justified by the law of Moses. Who was under the law of Moses, brother?
Wait, no, hold on a second. I'm glad you asked that, because I just read it to you. In Deuteronomy 29, who was there that was under the law and the covenant? Who got sworn into the covenant?
The children of Israel.
And who else was there?
The stranger.
Thank you.
Who was the stranger?
Who
was the stranger in the context?
Absolutely. Good question. The stranger in the context, it says, first, it names all the men of Israel. Then it names their wives and their children, their little ones. Then it says, and the sojourner. So
who is in your camp?
So who's in your camp? The ones who's chopping your wood and keeping your fire.
So this is hold on real quick. This is simple to understand.
All right. So a couple things definitely. So I guess he's arguing that. Well, let me go to the verse specifically he mentioned. Because even with this, if you keep reading just the verses 46 to 48, he's still stuck there. But by him, everyone who believes is justified from all things from which you could not be justified by the law of Moses. I don't know how that excludes Gentiles, because Gentiles also can't be justified by the law of Moses. So yeah, you can say that no, Gentiles aren't under the law of Moses, fine. But the statement that Gentiles cannot be justified by the law of Moses, that is true. Both the Jews and the Gentiles cannot be justified by the law of Moses. In fact, since it's Paul speaking here, when you're going to read this in the context of Romans, that's the argument he makes. The law, we are all sinners. We are all wretched, wicked sinners. And the law, I believe in Romans 6:14, maybe, he talks about the law being its purpose to reveal sin. Right? So under the context of who's speaking here, it's Paul. Paul's theology here is nobody can justify themselves by the law. The Gentiles, first of all, they have a law written on their hearts, but they cannot follow it perfectly. The Jew, the self-righteous Jew, still can't justify himself because he still has his inward sins. Nobody can justify themselves. Whether you're under the law or not, nobody can do it. So I don't know how this statement would somehow exclude Gentiles, because yeah, only Israelites were under the law of Moses, technically speaking. However, to say that Gentiles cannot justify themselves by the law of Moses is still a true statement about Gentiles. So it doesn't exclude, because Paul never says that you have to be under the law of Moses for his argumentation to work. Paul's line of reasoning is here in Acts, you cannot. And now everyone who believes, right, pas hapistion, every believing one is justified from all things which you cannot be justified by the law of Moses. So,
even of what he says there, Avery goes with him, because like in the style debate they're doing, it's not really that you can break down. This is something that IP Inspiring Philosophy was doing a lot, because I was watching Sam Shamoun's breakdown. I didn't finish it, but I was watching his breakdowns of that debate. And I believe Inspiring Philosophy was trying to break down things in a way that the Israelites were not going to take all that time. They were just using rhetoric. But logic in this case, not to bring race into it, but he kind of understands kind of how they want to do it. That black kind of, the way they talk, the way they want to move into it, rush into it, breeze through it. So logic goes with him. And he says, okay, you say, who can be justified by the law of Moses? He brings him right back to where he brought him in his opening, which was Deuteronomy 29. And he mentions to him how the covenant made by Moses was ratified to the men of Israel, the women of Israel, the children of Israel, and the sojourner who is in your camp, which clearly states that there were people in the camp who were not native Israelites, who were a part of the Israelite community, who does had to join an agreement with God to ratify the law, to renew the covenant, renew this original covenant to the Israel community. So these strangers in the camp of Israel would have to be justified through the works of the law. All right. But Paul is now saying, no, the works of the law themselves cannot justify you. You need to believe in Jesus to actually be justified through faith and actually be cleansed. Because he says in Acts 13 that the law itself cannot do anything for you. This saves you from what the law couldn't free you from. That's what he says. So even going with what Yawasap is saying, Avery clearly shows to him that there would be strangers in the camp who are under the law of Moses, thus need to be freed from that law and need to be saved through faith and actually have their sins washed away through belief in Jesus Christ. If I could even mention a verse, I think it's Numbers 13, Numbers 26. I'm not too sure. But there's a verse in Numbers where it talks about there's one law for the stranger and one law for the Israelite. And I want to go there, because that would show that, again, God is saying that there is just one law that they are all under. Let me get this for you. Let me get this for you. Do you know where it is? Yes.
I'm pulling up. I just
see,
looked up.
I see it there. Numbers 15. Numbers 15. I see it there.
Is it 15:16 here?
Yeah, that one right there. Read verse 15 as well for me. 15 and 15 to 16.
15, 16, sure. No, not 15.
All right.
Uh, one ordinance shall be for you of the assembly and for the stranger who dwells with you, an ordinance forever throughout your generations. As you are, so
Mm.
shall the stranger be before the Lord Yahweh. One
Mm.
law and one custom shall be for you and for the stranger who dwells with you.
So as Avery showed, the stranger who dwells in the Israelite community, if they are part of the Israelite community and they join themselves to the Israelite community, they're not given a separate law. They're not given a separate ruling. They're given one law that's under both of them, which is the law of Moses in this case. That they're under this law. And thus, when we go to Acts 13, and Paul is speaking to these Jews, to these individuals, he's saying you need to be justified, you need to be freed from the weight of sin that's still on you because the law could never remove sin. You need to be freed from this. You need to be cleansed from this, from the things that the law could not cleanse you from. So even going with Yawasap's line of reasoning, even still, there would be non-Israelites who are still being directly mentioned by Paul when he says that everyone who believes, who is, let me get the verse. Everyone who believes, who is now under the law of Moses, needs to be freed from that law through Jesus Christ, as he says in verse 13. By him, everyone who believes is freed from everything from which you could not be freed by the law of Moses. So even there, when you go with Yahweh's line of reasoning, it still falls flat because the Old Testament made it clear that there were non-Israelites who were a part of the Israelite community who would have had one law for them, just like there was one law for the Israelites. They did not have two separate laws; it was one law for both of them because they joined themselves to the Israelite community. And this is also a
Right.
reason why God says, for example, go to Leviticus 19. Go to Leviticus 19. Let's look at I think it's like verse 15 or something. I'll get it for you before you get there. Leviticus chapter 19. Because they have one law for both of them, this is why God says things like in Leviticus 19, verse, where is it? Leviticus 19. Where it talks about the
It's just,
stranger.
yeah.
I think it's verse 26. Verse 26. No, verse 33. Go to verse 33. Verse
Yeah, I
33.
found it.
It says there, for
Yep.
example, and if a stranger dwells with you in your land, you shall not mistreat him. The stranger who dwells among you shall be to you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord of your God. Meaning you have to regard the sojourner who's not a native Israelite as a native Israelite. You have to regard them in the same way. And God is putting these laws in place because He's showing that He's not showing no favoritism. He's giving them one law, and He wants them to be a part of the Israelite community. He's as then this all goes back to Genesis 12, that in you all the nations of the earth will be blessed. God's desire was not to be discriminatory against race, discriminatory against ethnicity or nation, none of that. All He wanted is that if you choose to follow me and accept my commands and accept who I am as God, you can join the community. You could be one of my children. You could be a part of this like community. Even as early on, go to one more. Sorry, I'm taking so much time. I'll go one more place. Exodus chapter 12. Even early on, Exodus chapter 12, God says similar things here. Exodus 12. Let's go to verse. I think it's the end of the chapter. Yep, verse 50. Exodus 12, verse 40, 48. From 48 to verse 50. Yeah, verse 50. 48 to verse 50. For those watching, look what God says here. This is him talking about, this is the when they put the blood on the doorpost, that chapter. He says, and when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native of the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat it. One law shall be for the native born and for the stranger who dwells with you. Again, this is stating that there's only one law. There's no two laws. Even the stranger, the Gentile, the sojourner who's not a native Israelite, if he wants to keep the Passover, meaning if there's a stranger, a Gentile, who wants to join God's community, because if you keep the Passover, you're following God's commands, right? You're saying, you're telling God, I want to follow you. So if a stranger, a sojourner wants to follow God, follow the Lord, Yahweh, and join himself to the Israelite community, he has to keep God's commands. He has to enter into the covenant. Because if you circumcise your males, you're entering into the covenant. Meaning, which is Avery's whole point, there were non-Israelites who were under the covenant of Moses with Israelites as well. So even if we go with Yawasap, that Acts 14 was mentioning those under the law of Moses, well, guess what? There were non-Israelites under the law of Moses, according to Deuteronomy 29, according to Leviticus chapter 19, according to Numbers chapter 15, according to Exodus 12. And these non-Israelites were to be saved by Jesus Christ through faith in him, because they had to be freed from what the law could not free them from, which is their own sins. So Yawasap's whole line of reasoning falls flat, and Avery destroyed it. He destroyed it simply with the verses he went to. Right? So that's that. We can continue there.
Yeah. Maybe towards the end, because I know GodLogic posted a short, so there's a specific clip that happened. So if we don't get to it, we might go to the short and then end there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Relax.
I think they're still talking about the stranger. So I guess Captain Yawasap is going to try to explain that now.
This is simple to understand.
I'll be right back.
Class.
Okay.
You understand? A class system of the Israelites.
Really?
That's what this is talking about. Absolutely.
So wait, just to be clear.
Yes, sir.
My question. Where did the sojourner come from? Who you're saying that this is an Israelite?
Yes.
Where did the sojourner come from? Who was that did not travel with Moses when they got out of the Exodus? Where did the Israelites come from?
Which sojourner in the context?
The sojourner is in the camp of Moses. Okay, they're with Moses.
You're talking about in Deuteronomy 29.
Yes, in Deuteronomy 29.
That is an Israelite. Sojourner.
Where did they come from?
Sojourner does not. He came from Egypt with Moses.
Okay, so
sojourner does not simply mean somebody that comes from another land. It's a class system.
No.
It's a.
Hold on.
Yes,
it
is.
It's okay. Hold on. Hey, hold it
Yes,
down.
it is.
Hold it down. So, Yawasap, listen.
Uh-huh.
Who all left the Exodus with Moses?
The children of Israel.
Very good. Now, with the children of Israel, they left. Were there any Israelites outside of Egypt before they left Egypt?
Were there any Israelites out of Egypt before they left Egypt?
Yes.
I couldn't answer that.
Okay, the answer is no. They were all.
I'm gonna go for this really quick. I don't know if Bible Lover is here back yet. He said he'll be right back, but he's saying this is a class system, a temporary inhabitant, a newcomer lacking inherited rights, of foreigners in Israel, though conceded rights. I'm looking at this right now. You guys cannot make this up. Oh, you're back. So he just said that sojourner, stranger, is a class system for other Israelites. And so I'm looking at the Hebrew word. First of all, it's not even accurate. It's not a class system. It's referring to people that are just strangers, aliens, right? Look at Strong's definition. Properly a guest, by implication, a foreigner. Alien, sojourner, stranger. It's not a class system for Israelites. It is a stranger. Now, GodLogic is asking him, well, where do these other Israelites come from? Where are these strangers, these strange Israelites, these alien Israelites coming from? And he just said, from Egypt. But that's where all the Israelites came from. So are they all the strange? Like, I don't. He's not making sense here. It's not making logical, coherent sense. The sojourner is a stranger from another land, whether that be a different land than Israel, that comes in and lives among the Israelites. All the Israelites were already in Egypt, and then they all came following Moses in the Exodus, following Moses out of Egypt. And he doesn't even know. GodLogic asked him, were there any other Israelites outside of Egypt? He doesn't even know. The answer is no. That's not.
I don't know. Making no sense.
Yeah, and even some of the verses you brought up, I think actually the one in Exodus, right? So it says here, and when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native of the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat it. One law shall be given for the native born and for the stranger who dwells among you. Hold on, wait a minute. was there a part where it says you were strangers in the land of Egypt? One of them you brought up mentions being
That was
strangers in the land of Egypt.
Leviticus 19 verse 33 through to 36. Go open that one.
Right. So Israelites weren't foreign Egyptians. They weren't Egyptian at all. They were Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's making that comparison is implying that this stranger isn't another Israelite from another land. They all came in the Exodus. It is a person from another land that is not an Israelite that can live among the Israelites. It's very clear.
And you're right. That's why the comparison is made, because just as you were foreigners in another land, and I brought you out of that land, you must treat the foreigners in your land good, right? Because you know what you went through as foreigners in Egypt. So why would you make foreigners in your land feel the same way? You know what I mean? So God's whole point is that he doesn't have any anger towards anyone. He wants to show love to everyone. And he even allows non-Israelite sojourners to join the community. Like, that's, first of all, a loving God. How loving is he? But secondly, that destroys anything that these guys are saying here, which is Logic steamrolling them right now. He's cooking them. That's why he keeps doing his pot. He's cooking these guys up.
Yeah, oh, he's got the spoon there. He's got the
Yep.
You know, oh my gosh. He should have brought the apron out.
He's giving the business.
He should have gone with the chef hat and the apron. Like, that would have been
nice bouillon for them right now. Making nice bouillon with them right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
Right, let's keep going.
All there, right? Because you have Jacob that settled there, and then they began to populate Egypt, right? They populated their land.
Right.
So they all was forming within Egypt.
Right.
There were no Israelites outside of that.
Right.
A sojourner is a stranger, a foreign person who's not within your land, who's not part of you. And so what this is saying, hold on. What this is saying, there's all the men of Israel that was with Moses. This is Deuteronomy. This is after Exodus. This is after the Exodus of Egypt.
Yeah.
So
I'm listening.
all the Israelites are with Moses. As a matter of fact, it even says, all the men of Israel and their wives and their children. Then it says, and the sojourner who's in your camp. It's a wrap, bro. So you got the sojourners who are non-Israelites that are being sworn into the covenant.
No problem. All you gotta do is keep reading. It's simple. So it says in verse 12, it says that thou shouldest enter into the covenant with the Lord thy God, and into his oath, which the Lord thy God maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a God, and he hath said unto thee, and hath also sworn unto the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Awesome.
Right? So the covenant in the context is dealing with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
You're right.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm not done. Because I like sources.
So do I. I got the Hebrew right here.
I like sources. All right?
You good, brother?
Nah, I don't know this brother. I don't know this, but he's smart. He's inebriated. He's inebriated.
So that the first smoke. That's the lexical
What just happened? Some dude just
seems a
walked
drunk
up
guy.
on him. Okay, we'll move on. Well, actually, before we move on, I want to say I want to give props to Captain Desirek for practically being a bodyguard. Like, he's literally been the bodyguard when he was debating, and then now. And I mean, to be fair, it works. Dude is massive. He's got like, I can tell if he lifts up his sleeve, you're gonna see like a huge bicep there. So dude is massive. So we'll give him the props.
We're good.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, so this right here.
Can you reload the point that you're making?
What I'm making is that the stranger in that context is an Israelite. It's not just simply talking about somebody from somewhere else. It's talking about a class system of somebody who is employed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you this in this source. And
So he's doing it. So I just like to call this like repeating the refuted argument, right? Like, people do this. So he already said this, that the sojourner is a class system Israelite. He has a specific rank. So oh, okay. Till hour 30. Yeah, that's fine. So where was I going with this? But Avery already responded to this. He already pointed out, well, there's a sojourner distinct from the Israelites, and the Israelites were all coming in the Exodus. So I mean, when we examine all the biblical evidence and put it together, there is no way the sojourner is just an Israelite, because they all came with the Exodus. There wasn't any exterior Israelites. So, and people tend to do this.
Yeah, I know you opened up the definition for that word, but I wanna, if you could just open up again for me, because Hebrew Israelites, a lot of times they, when they're debating and discussing with people, they always pride themselves in going to the Strong's definitions. They like to mention Strong's definition, James Strong, his definitions for certain words. But only when it comes to now definitions that clearly go against their soteriology or their view of things, they now have to bring up extra sources and, oh, it doesn't mean this, and they bring in their own definition. They don't care about anybody's definition before. They don't let anybody else do that. But only when it's to support them, they have to bring up their own definition. As you see on your screen, to all of you watching, Strong's definition is on the left corner, and it says, great Ger, that's the word I'm guessing, from H1481, because they usually mention the number, properly, a guest, and in house context, a guest is someone that doesn't live with you. You know what I mean? If you have a guest in your house, they don't live with you. It's not a class of people that live with you. No. You know what I mean? I don't have a class of people that live with me and then I can call them a guest. No, a guest is someone that's coming over for dinner. Coming for dinner. You know what I mean? You go to church, you come for dinner, that's a guest in your house. You know, you prepare your house for a guest. You know what I mean? You'll treat a guest nicely. By implication, a foreigner. Or what does it say? Alien, sojourner, stranger. Even if you go to an English dictionary, because Strong's using English words to understand these. Foreigner in English dictionary, someone that is from foreign, from another country. You know, I'm of Caribbean descent. A lot of times people will say he came from foreign. You know what I mean? He came from overseas. That means he's not from here. He came from there, or he's from here and he went to foreign. He went overseas, right? Or alien, someone that's not natively of this place. In the biggest sense, alien is someone from another planet. So there is no sense in which this word refers to a class of one sect. Because how can you have an alien and then say an alien is just a lesser human? That's racism, and that could be based on societal changes, but that's not what the word means. That's not what this word is being used for. This word is clearly stating that this is a guest or someone that is not of one specific group who is now entering in, right? He's a sojourner who is in the camp of Israel. You have to ask, why does God make these distinctions? Why would God make a distinction like this if he's talking about an Israelite again? It would be stupid. But God is not stupid. He knows what he's doing. They don't know what he's doing. That's why they're butchering the text. They don't know what God's doing. God knows what he's doing. They don't know what he's doing. And so they're just butchering the text, as you can see right there, how this word is used, all these places. It's clear.
Yeah. So let's see what he says, because hopefully he says something different and actually makes an argument, because Avery's point is very clear.
Maybe you could speed up the video like a few little bit, like just a little bit.
I actually forgot to do that, so
yeah, 1.25. 1.25 is good. Yeah, and as you were saying, Avery's clear. As you were saying, like Avery's clear. Avery's point is clear. Everybody knows what Avery's trying to say. But Yawasap, he's the one that he's bringing the points and he's making other points and he's changing what he's saying. You know what I mean? Avery's point is clear. So let's continue. Let's go now. Because sorry, if I just, I want to say one more thing. Yawasap never made a clear point because he never did a real opening. You know what I mean? Like even in his opening, he started refuting what Avery brought. It's like this is like obviously this is an informal debate, kind of like it's out in the public. It's for the vibes and whatnot. Fine, but you still gotta at least make a point for people to know what you're arguing for. All they know is the topic of the debate, but you're actually giving your own point. You're just saying, okay, Gentiles can't be saved, and then your point is Avery's wrong. His point for why Gentiles can't be saved is because Avery's wrong. What makes you right? He's not showing what makes him right, and Avery's just showing that he's right. he's in line with the Bible, and Yawasap's just trying to chase him when he's not actually setting himself up, and he's putting himself. He failed himself already. He lost it. He lost the debate already. Like you could clearly see, Avery has the rhetoric, Avery has the behavior, Avery has the vibes, he has the energy. He won the debate already, and he has the truth on his side. So simple as that. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
I was gonna say earlier because we talked about Strong's Concordance. So I was gonna say if he was debating James White, he's probably gonna tell him, "Sir, I don't use Strong's Concordance. I teach Hebrew." All right.
That's what he
Let's
says.
keep going. I'm gonna charge my computer, but I'm still here.
You the source. So it said, more striking, this is talking about Deuteronomy 29. It says, more striking is the language attributed to Moses in charging the judges. Here causes between your brethren and judge righteously. I'm gonna drop down to the point. 1 second. It says, here causes between your brethren and judges righteously between man and his brother, between man and his girl.
What chapter is this?
This is I'm reading a book, a source. I'm gonna give you the source. Don't worry.
I want Bible, man.
I'm gonna give you Bible in a second.
Okay, we're good.
Then it says, it is difficult to imagine causing contention with mere strangers, whereas differences between employer and employee. So within this book, in somebody who actually parses out the Hebrew, is telling you that sojourner is an employee.
Right.
That's what that is. So this is showing you in the context.
Yeah.
This is a class system in Israel. Very simple to understand.
Right, so
I'll let you have the last word.
Pause-
For
pause-
that.
pause-
So,
pause-
ladies and
yeah,
gentlemen, he said he's
pause
gonna bring
right
me a
there.
source. He brought
Yeah.
Pause it right
What the
there.
heck did I just do?
I actually want to let Avery respond to that, but open up for me Leviticus 26, because he's mentioning how in the book, the source he read, the sojourner is an employee, and this just strengthens his argument that they're just a lower class of Israelite. But even in the even in the Mosaic law, where it talks about, for example, the slaves that you can buy, the slaves that sell themselves to you. We're gonna go to Leviticus 20:26, and let's read. Let me get the verse. I think it's verse 40 some. Leviticus 26.
44, I think.
Go to verse. Yeah, 44. Yeah, 44.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Did you mean Leviticus 25?
Yes, sorry. Leviticus 25. My fault.
Yeah.
And just for those watching, the Bible's gonna we're gonna be looking at in this verse slavery in the Bible and context of the Bible. Now there are videos about out there you can watch about this. What's the guy's name again? John. That guy that. What's his name again? The guy that does atheist lives on TikTok, like the
Big John Steele.
Yeah, John Steele. He has a video about this, how slavery in the Bible is not like American slavery, black slavery. The Bible condemned kidnapping, but what it did allow was that you could sell yourself into servitude, or you could be forced into servitude if you're a criminal or you're a prisoner of war, which is what we see even in today, modern times, that prisoners of war, criminals, they are put into slavery, put into bondage because they have to serve a debt. And in those times as well, you could sell yourself into slavery.
And
So it
really
says in
quick,
verse 44. Go ahead.
just really quick. Yeah, I'm working on a project with 9 other guys. And part of it is going to be explaining slavery in the Bible. But anyways, go ahead.
So check out that project when it comes out, guys. So verse 44. And as for your male and female slaves, whom you may have, you may buy male and female slaves from among the nations that are around you. You may also buy from among the strangers who sojourn with you, and their clans that are with you, who have been born in your land, then they may be your property. You may bequeath them to your sons after you to inherit as a possession forever. You may make slaves of them, but over your brothers, the people of Israel, you shall not rule one over another ruthlessly. So we see that if you are to buy a slave, that means they're selling themselves into slavery. You can't force someone to sell themselves to you. I mean, they're willing to sell, right? But he says, from the nations that are around you, you can make them your slaves. He mentioned a book that said that you have employer and employee, and the sojourner or the stranger in Deuteronomy 29 is an employee who's just a lesser Israelite. But God here is saying is to the Israelites that you guys could buy slaves from other nations, which means that these slaves would be a part of the Israelite community themselves. And they would then, if they're in the community, they have to join an agreement to ratify the law, ratify or renew the covenant made in Exodus 24. So we clearly see that there would have been individuals who are not native Israelites who, for example, were bought from other nations, who were a part of the Israelite community, who needed to be mentioned by God in Deuteronomy 29. So his point that he just read from the book is destroyed because we clearly see that there were individuals who were bought from other nations who were put a part of the Israelite community. So his point does not stand. It doesn't stand. You may be by the children of the strangers to dwell among you. Again, children of the strangers. So people who are ethnically not a part of Israel. So this is what we clearly see. Clearly seeing this the entire time. That it's not just native Israelites or people that are lesser Israelites. No. Clearly, distinctions made between native Israelites and non-native Israelites. It's clear from the text. You don't have to go to all these passages if you just let the text speak for itself. But because you're not doing that, the Bible's just hitting you on the head time after time after time after time to make the point clear. And that's it. Let's see what Logic says though. Let's see how Logic responds to him.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say really quickly, he's inserting
Mhm.
Israelite there because no one is saying that it's just a mere stranger and nothing else. Sure, the strangers will live among the land. They may end up being, they might start serving Israelites. You know, they will be doing that, but it's still a non-Israelite. So he is imposing the issue of him being an Israelite, the stranger, onto the text. You can say it's an employed sojourner, sure, but it's not. The term sojourner or foreigner itself doesn't only entail ranks. It's someone that's outside of Israel. So he's stretching. Right. He's stretching the information.
Right. You can continue. I'll be right back.
I got you right now. You got me right now. I got you right now. It's called the status. It's called the status of labor in ancient Israel.
By who?
I got you.
Okay. So now
I got to zoom out, brother.
it's okay. So now
I got to zoom out, brother.
Watch the difference here. The difference from what he brought and what I brought. Now, what I have is the lexicon, which is the biblical breakdown of the Hebrew and the Greek words and the Aramaic. It tells you the definitions, the meanings, the usages. I'm not giving you guys some unknown author, there's some anonymous author. But watch this. So this is what it says in the lexicon, the word ger, right? It says a sojourner, alien, aliens in the plural, foreigners, immigrants, sojourners, strangers. So my question to you is this.
Yes, sir.
Can you pull me up a lexicon that demonstrates that the word ger is used to demonstrate a class system?
I just showed you.
No, I need a lexicon.
No, it's not within the lexicon. It's within the parsing of the Hebrew.
I like it.
It's within the parsing of the Hebrew.
I got you. That's good.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. I need to ask you a question.
I'll let you ask.
Is there anywhere in the Bible that ger is related to a Hebrew? Yes or no? Yes or no?
What's your question, sir?
Is there anywhere in the Hebrew, in the Bible, where in the Hebrew ger is used for an Israelite? Yes or no?
You have to demonstrate that to me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
No problem.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it could be used of an Israelite, but it would probably be in a specific context, like Israelites, strangers in the land of Egypt. So I don't. Let's see what he says. Let's just see what he says.
So this is the book of 2 Chronicles. And the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 15.
When it says that you were sojourners for Egypt?
No.
Okay.
1 second. There's the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 15 and verse 9.
Right, slow down.
And it says, and he gathered.
Let me catch up to you.
And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh. Was Ephraim and Manasseh called strangers? Yes or no?
No, you just missed it. Guys, this is where reading comprehension got to come in. Do me this favor.
Wow.
Look, Yawasap, I love how you read. Can you read that one more time? I'm going to show you your mistake.
No problem. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh.
Thank you. So the strangers out of Ephraim and Manasseh.
Yeah.
Not that Ephraim and Manasseh are strangers among Israelites, but that. Look, I'm telling you, it's reading comprehension.
Horrible.
It's
horrible.
It's reading comprehension.
Horrible.
Look, you said that's horrible.
Horrible.
So, hey, when we go to the context, you're dead.
You're dead.
But look, guys, notice how clear this is. It's so clear that among Ephraim and Manasseh, they had non-Israelites with them. You're proving my point. Now, hold on.
Let me also saying in the context,
let me also stack this. Hold on. Let me stack this. This okay. Keep reading.
Horrible.
Let me stack this.
Horrible.
Okay. I have here 1 Chronicles 15:9 is what he quoted. And it says, then he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and those who dwelt with them from Ephraim, Manasseh, and Simeon, for they came over to him in great numbers from Israel when they saw that the Lord his God is with them. So, and those who dwelt with them from Ephraim, in a sense. So, he has a different version. I think KJV. So let's do that. 2 Chronicles 15:9. Whoops. Strangers with them out of. So look. So Avery's point is clear, right? So the KJV here, right? The strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh. And we're going to check the Hebrew in a second. I just want to see what it says. But it's the strangers that are also in Ephraim and Manasseh. So he didn't even properly read the verse, because he's not saying that Ephraim and Manasseh and Simeon are strangers. They're just strangers with them. Now, let's see here.
And then even of that, the point, if he were to make that point, he's then saying that Ephraim and Manasseh would be lesser Israelites compared to the other tribes, which is not made at all in the Bible. He doesn't read that point at all. So his point does not stand.
So notice this. The Hebrew is similar to the other word, but this is a verb. And it just means to dwell with. Now, dwelling with, depending on the context, could mean like a foreigner, right? Like, so I can say that my family dwells with me, but that doesn't mean that my family is some other family or foreigners, right? If it's talking about an actual foreigner, as in like someone that came from another nation, then yeah, you can say that. But so this is not the same Hebrew word. It is a verb. It is a, and mind you, I don't think Avery was able to really pull it up on that time, because remember, they're in a very hostile situation. But this isn't even the same word. It's a verb to describe dwelling with someone. Can it mean to sojourn, to dwell with as a stranger? Sure. But it also, depending on the context, means just to dwell with. So there wasn't really a strong argument, I'm going to be honest, from this Hebrew Israelite here, Captain Yawasap.
Because he here he sure doesn't care about the Hebrew or nothing. Only King James. And the King James actually let him down there because he interpreted it wrong. I think so. Yeah.
So let's watch it a little more, and then at the end let's watch that short just to see if it's because I want to watch his short. I want to get that little section that GodLogic highlighted, and then think we can end it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said, now in Deuteronomy 29, he said that the covenant is dealing with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the forefathers. You're exactly right. So what did the promise say with the covenant of Abraham? That in you, all the families will be blessed. Listen, look, you acknowledging that the covenant is relating to what God said to Abraham is proving my initial point.
No, it's not.
I established it that God's covenant with Abraham included everyone.
I literally showed you within the Hebrew that is specifically dealing with the people that came from Abraham.
No, you
Very
didn't.
simple.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You didn't bring me a single lexicon.
But hold on a second. So even if we go with that, the way Paul interprets it is that Gentiles are coming from him. We read that earlier in the stream.
Right.
But I don't even think his argument. I don't know. I can't say this for certain, so don't quote me on this. But I don't think what he said in the Hebrew was actually entirely accurate. So let's do this. Let's pull up. I'm gonna go to Bible Hub. We're gonna go to. Whoops. Yeah, no, I'm not disabling the ad blocker. Live Hub is trying to mess with me here, trying to mess this up. All right, where is it? Let's see. Not the translations, the commentaries. Goodness. Wait a minute. What? Oh, there we go. Parallel commentaries. Now, we have here there's the expository commentaries, like Benson's commentary. But then on the side here, we have exegetical commentaries, which go to the original languages. So I want to just see what these say. Do these also interpret it as, oh, it's only to, I just want to see. Let's just have a little fun. So I will bless the blessing which Abram receives from God to be a source of good to his friends and of evil to his foes. Observe the delicacy with which the recipients of the blessing are expressed in the plural, but of the curse in the singular. Him that curseth will I curse. It is assumed that his friends are numerous and his foes few. Curse everyone that curseth thee. In thee shall all families of the earth. These words can be understood in two ways. So just look at this, right? Two ways. So according to the verb rendered, A, passively, B, reflexively. So for A, on account of thee that the whole world shall be blessed. On account of thee, the whole world shall be blessed. So this is the Cambridge Bible for schools and colleges, right? This is an exegetical commentary based on the original language. In Abram is impersonated a blessing that shall become universal. The directly messianic application of this rendering is obvious. Or in B, in thy name, all the families of the earth will find the true formula of benediction. The blessing of Abram shall pass into a universal proverb. All were regarded as the best object of human wishes to participate in the happiness of Abram. The rendering would be, shall bless themselves. This rendering, probably supported by these passages, like the alternative rendering, it admits a messianic application in the universal recognition of the place of Abram in the divine scheme of redemption. Right? Now, that's just one. I'm not going to go through all of these here because we'd be spending, all day here. Oh, there's just two. There's the Kill and Dillit's, whatever, Bible commentary on the Old Testament, biblical commentary on the Old Testament. So if you want to read that one too, it's on Bible Hub. Just type in Genesis 12:3, scroll down, you'll see a commentary. Go to parallel commentaries when you see it, and then you can go to the right side. So if you want to read that. But it seems to me that Captain Yawasap's parsing. Now, parsing is, I don't even know if he knows what, I don't know if, because parsing is a thing you do with words where you break down what is the gender, what is the number, right? So I don't know if that's what he's talking about. It didn't sound like he did that. But anyway, so what I'm finding from here, just from this one alone, this is just one source, so I can't be definitive, but it seems like he just misapplied maybe Hebrew grammar or whatever. But either way, we can go any route with this. We can go with the route that it's only to the descendants of Abraham, and that still will work because Paul applies this to Gentiles who believe in Galatians 3. So let's keep going here.
You didn't bring me nothing. I showed you in the Hebrew. And Genesis 12 what and Hebrew 3. Did you show me? Genesis 12 and 3. I said, are you looking at the Hebrew? Yeah, in Genesis 12 and 3, right there, when it says, in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Yeah. Within the Hebrew, it is indicating that those families derive from Abraham. I got a question. Very simple to understand.
Right, so when they left Exodus, was it only Israelites that left, or what?
No.
So there were non-Israelites with them?
Yes.
So non-Israelites were in the camp of Moses. Right?
Yes.
Okay. In Deuteronomy 29, who is it addressing? Is it addressing just the Israelites that's there, or did he say he's addressing everyone that's
in
there?
In Deuteronomy 29?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let's go back just a little bit, because I got to catch that again.
In the Hebrew, it is indicating that those families derive from Abraham.
All right, I got a question.
Very simple to understand.
Right, so when they left the Exodus, was it only Israelites that left, or what?
No.
So there were non-Israelites with them?
Yes.
So non-Israelites were in the camp of Moses. Right?
Yes.
Okay. In Deuteronomy 29, who is it addressing? Is it addressing just the Israelites that's there, or does he say he's addressing everyone that's
in
there?
In Deuteronomy 29?
Yeah. Starting at verse.
No problem.
Starting at verse 10 to 15.
Yeah. In Deuteronomy 29, not even all the tribes are there. All the tribes are not here in Deuteronomy 29.
Okay.
That's why in verse 1 it says, these are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made in Horeb. Right? So when you drop down, very simple, man.
Read verse 15.
Read verse 15?
Yeah, now, guys, listen to his point. His point was...
This is why it says this.
Hold on, watch this. I know. Watch this. His point is that not all the tribes of Israel are present. Read verse 15.
Correct. It says, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day. Exactly. So that's what is this showing? The people that are standing here are getting this covenant, and the Israelites that are not here are getting this covenant.
Exactly.
Very simple.
So, but notice this. That
you're proving my point.
No, yes, Yawasap, stop it, bro.
Proving my point, brother.
Yawasap, listen. What we demonstrated is that you trying to say that not all the tribes of Israel is present. is a non. It doesn't do anything to me because it addresses even those that are not present there in that day, right? As we just read. However, here's the point. The point is that it addresses all the men of Israel, their wives and their children. And then it says, and the sojourner, the stranger who is with you in your camp. These are non-Israelites who are sworn into the covenant, my brother. You gotta deal. So you gotta do
what that is.
Okay, so then you have to look. This is what you have to do for me. I need you to demonstrate for me an Israelite. Wait, listen.
An Israelite being called a stranger?
No,
I just did.
Yeah, listen to what I'm asking.
Go ahead, brother.
Demonstrate for me a sojourner. No, you didn't, by the way.
Yes, I did, by the way.
A sojourner who is an Israelite right after the Exodus. Where are these Israelites?
This is what you're not understanding. That my position is.
All right, let's do this because you said at like an hour and 30 you wanted to head out.
Yeah.
So let's address this last part here, and then let's go to the short, and then let's cap it off. So, I mean, I guess not much to say here anyway, because GodLogic's point is very clear, right? So the sojourner even came with them from Egypt, and that's what the captain there admitted. So if that's the case, then this will include that would be included in Deuteronomy 29, those that came with them.
Right.
So it's very clear, and I don't know if he's understanding the point there. Yeah, let's just go to the short. Let's go to the short and end it. So
here, we are 23 minutes in. This for those watching, this debate has just been a cook session. The Yawasap guy has not had any sort of firmness to what he's saying. He doesn't have anything to stand on. Even like he keeps trying to bring up passages to go against what Logic is saying, but Logic's passages stand still because they all work together. And he even quoted, that was such a bad move to quote 2 Chronicles 15, and it's not even in context of what you're trying to talk about. Logic went with him. And like I won't fault Logic at all, because Logic is going with what he's saying. He's reading from the King James, and he's taking the King James to say that the Ephraim and Manasseh were strangers. But that's not even what the text is saying. The text is using the word there, which can mean sojourner or stranger. That's the word used there. But it could also mean to dwell with or reside with. That's why, for example, I use the ESV. The ESV literally says here in 2 Chronicles 15, that same verse, it says, and he gathered all Judah and Benjamin, and those from Ephraim, Manasseh, and Simeon who were residing with them, meaning who were living with them. Because this is after the two nations, this is after Israel and Judah, this is after the Israelite nation split. 10 tribes went one way, 2 tribes went the other. So it's saying those are the other tribes that were residing with Judah. So even still, none of these helped him at all. He cooked himself. And one thing that they do get is that they're very confident. That's good. But at the end of the day, it's not showing them right. Logic's confident too, and he's actually right. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's watch that short.
Yeah, actually, before we do that, because I want to give you an example, right? Because remember that word in Chronicles was a verb. So, Bible lover, you know what the word for send in Greek is?
Apostolos, right? Something like that.
Right, apostello, right? But there's a similar word called apostolos, which is for the apostles, but it's the same root. It's the same root, right? Because the apostles were sent from Jesus. So, using his line of reasoning, if we say that foreigner in Chronicles there in 2 Chronicles 15:9, the one that's dwelling with them is literally the Israelites being called foreigner. Then using that line of reasoning, every time it speaks of someone being sent, now that's an apostle of Jesus Christ. Now this person is an apostle. And the issue is that it's just very similar words that have a similar root. So the word apostello can mean an apostle that's sent, or it can just mean it just generally someone that's sent, right? So let's go to that short, and I think we'll cap it off there.
What I'm going to do with GodLogic is I'm going to keep him in the context, and he's going to die.
What he said, if we go to context, I'm going to die. But guess who's dying?
Not at all. In the book of Acts chapter 13 and verse 38, let's look what it says. But it known unto you, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things.
Oh, you know what? I think that's a clip we already went over. But let's keep watching anyway.
All things from which
who are justified? It said. Who did it say is justified?
who is justified? Let's go to verse 26.
No. Read what you just read.
I'm gonna go to verse 26. Hold on. This is who's justified. This is who's justified. All that believe are justified. All that believe are justified. All that believe are justified. This is who's justified.
All that believe.
Check it out. It says, men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you. So who's justified? The children of Israel. Got you. So let's go back.
Wait. Can we talk about this?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So this is Acts 13, right? Yeah. So we're gonna read Acts 13. We're gonna read this context here.
Gotcha.
Now you don't know where you cooked yourself. I mean, I think you do, but then you try to skip over that.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Because you read it and I asked you to repeat it and you were scared to repeat it for some reason.
Not at all.
So you read, it said, all who believe.
Correct.
All who believe will be justified. Now you
Who's the all?
Let's see who the all is. So go ahead and read it for
And
me.
after the meeting of the synagogue broke up, many Jews and devout converts to Judaism.
Devout what?
Devout converts to Judaism.
So this means that they weren't in Judaism before?
Devout converts to Judaism.
So these non-Israelites are able to convert to Judaism, come into the belief of the true God.
What verse are you
they're
reading?
justified by their faith. You read it.
What verse are you reading?
Devout converts.
What verse are you reading?
What verse is this?
Acts 13:43.
That's not the verse I read.
Yeah, this is the context, right?
Yes.
You told me that if we go to, look, you smiling too.
Yes.
Hold on. Hey, what he said, if we go to context, I'm going to die. But she's dying.
So I guess I want to say just for parting thoughts that I think the advantage that Avery had over Inspiring Philosophy is he knows this kind of style, right? Like IP, he's used to more formal, moderated, scholarly debates. Avery,
Right.
and I think that's why when we reviewed his debate with Libyan Orthodox Muslim, we were kind of saying like, hey, here's a point where you've done better because Avery's better at this, like this where it's more about rhetoric. He's good at that. And by the way, I saw that the Orthodox Muslims actually going to debate Inspiring Philosophy in February. So maybe we can do that. I don't know because I'm planning it with other people.
There are actually two good debates that are happening there. I saw that whole slate of day debates looks very good, but Inspiring Philosophy is debating Orthodox Muslim. Inspiring and Christopher Tom whatever name is, but he's a Catholic philosopher, I believe. He's debating Jake the Muslim metaphysician, which I think would also be a good debate for him on the logical problems of the Trinity that he mentions all the time. So there's a good amount of debates there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good slate. But you're right. This style is just known to Avery. Avery knows how to deal with these guys, and Avery's cooking them like he's going to the scriptures. You know what I mean? Like, because all Avery does consistently is when you deal with people like this, you stick to what you reading and you analyze the context. If you notice with the Hebrew Israelites, they kept taking verses out of context and jumping to different passages to create a point. But Avery, all he needs to do is just stay in the same passage, stay in the same context, and it makes the point for him. Because the Bible says the Bible literally speaks for itself, right?
You know what I should have done? I should have tried to find my "We Just Gonna Read" shirt. I don't know where it is. I gotta find it. I don't know where it went, man. Oh.
But that's all Avery does, and I think he clearly won here. Look, IP versus Tazariak. Even IP, his arguments, he won. But Tazariak, he had the rhetoric and he had counter arguments that they kind of started arguing back. Oh, they started arguing over past each other at some point. There was semantics. But with Avery and Yawasap, Avery made sure Avery is very good at this. If you watch his debates on TikTok, whatever, he makes sure he knows the opponent's position. He steals man's position in his mind. He knows what they're saying, and he goes and attacks that directly. And since he does that, he could destroy any argument they bring up. Any argument. And the text gave Avery the win. You know, Avery was destined to win this, and he did. You know, straight Bible. You know what I mean? Straight belt that you got there, right there.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we can talk about because that's all in February. If there's a Lane Flowers debate, I'm definitely gonna watch that one. But anyways, so maybe we can talk about that in February when it comes around. I think for now, I don't know how often I'm gonna go live, and I don't know how often we're gonna do this together. We'll see what happens. That's what I'm gonna leave it at. Maybe we can do just something in December again, like we did last year with the case for the incarnation. We can do something else, maybe. It's
right.
There's options, so we can talk about it. I have contact with you,
Right.
if I need to. I think we're done here. So just remember, folks, we were saved by grace, not race. It is the uniting work of the Spirit that saves us. So with that, actually, I gotta get the banner up. I cannot forget that. So with that being said, Young Christian and Bible 1, 2, 3. Should I try to do the outro? I'm gonna try to do it. I got a Bible here. Hold on. Ready? I'm trying not to laugh, so I don't mess it up. Ready? So with that being said, guys, Bible Lover 1, 2, 3, 4, and Young Christian Thoughts out. I gotta end the stream out.